Don't Worry Darling is about a married couple in a perfect society with perfect friends and men that have the perfect wives and jobs. But as the movie goes on, we see that there is no such thing as perfect as Frank wanted us to believe. As I dissect the movie today with you guys, we're going to talk about 3 common topics that I researched as well as came up with and kind of agreed with as well, which is perfect society, control and oppression, and gender roles and misogyny. And we're first going to start off with perfect society. As we first get into the movie, of course, we see it's a 1960s theme where gender roles and this perfect world was created where the women do all the cooking and cleaning and all the men have to do is go to work and, you know, provide for the family. So we kind of have this suburban, perfect, utopian society, if you will, where things are too perfect and it would cause somebody to question it, of course. Now, the first time that we're kind of seeing Alice break out of this matrix, if you will, is when she's in the kitchen cooking and she cracks the egg and she sees that there's no yolk. We also notice that the same thing's happening every day. She's making breakfast, she's cooking, she's cleaning, and Frank just goes off to work. But the crazy thing is that the wives do not know what their men do because they are not allowed to discuss what they do for work. Orders were by Frank, and Frank is the creator of the whole Victory Project, which is where they're going to at the headquarters here. Now, the reason why the women cannot know about what their husbands do for a living is because when the men are going to work, they're actually exiting the simulation and going back into the real world so that they can pay to stay in the Victory Project, which is basically an illusion to everybody that is there, especially for the people who do not know they're being controlled. So now we're going to get into control and oppression. So we see Margaret, who is the first person ever in the Victory Project to kind of break out and realize that stuff that's going on is not right. She's actually the first person that went into the unknown or out there, which is what they call it. They're not allowed to go out there because they can't see the headquarters. Basically to ruin the whole operation. So Margaret is trying to get through to Alice, telling her like, you know, I'm stuck, you know what they're doing isn't wrong, help me. But of course Alex ignores her and she decides to kind of keep living the fantasy life that she has. But then she starts hallucinating. All of these hallucinations are basically visions her subconscious mind is sending to her to wake up. Now it's time for gender roles and misogyny. So now as we look at Frank, he's the creator of the Victory Project. He's very narcissistic. He's controlling and manipulating everyone who's consenting and not consenting to be in the simulation. And as we look at him right here, you can see he's always wearing suits. He has this, you know, eerie look on his face and kind of like a dark liner under his eye, which is symbolizing how dark he really is. But because he's so dressed up, people are going to obey him because he's basically God in this world he created. All that the women do is cook, clean, take care of kids if they have any, and kind of just stick to shopping, going to ballet. They don't really have anything else to do. Frank even programmed the women that are in this Victory Project to forget how to drive. Of course, to make sure nothing bad happens, but also because they don't want women in control at all. In this world, it's all about the men, and the women are just supposed to be perfect wives. And this is another way we see how narcissistic he really is. Now, Bunny is the best friend of Alice. She's there for her. They do everything together, you know, so she's kind of like keeping her grounded while they're there. And in the next clip, we see that Bunny is wearing the color blue, and blue is a symbol of loyalty, which shows how loyal she is to Frank and protecting the Victory Project's cover because she's there willingly. You know, she went there so that she could have her kids because in real life she lost them. So she's very, very loyal to him. Getting into Alice, when I saw her in this long, you know, this shirt that you could tell she clearly slept in, that's when I realized that she was like very different, because when the wives send off their husbands, she wears this, you know, her hair is down, she's relaxed. While all the other wives are in their dresses, their makeup is freshly done, so I could tell that there was a difference to spot there. I also wanted to note her costuming. So the one thing I picked up with this red dress is how she didn't take the red pill. Like in the Matrix, when you take the red pill, you're seeking the truth. She didn't really have to take it. She kind of started finding out on her own. So with her wearing the red dress and Bunny wearing the blue, that was a connection that I kind of made on my own that was exciting for me. I wanted to discuss the correlation between the two names Alice and Bunny, kind of symbolizing an Alice in Wonderland type of feel, where Alice is stuck in this rabbit hole of no one believing her that she's stuck here and that nothing feels right. But then Bunny reassures her at the end of the movie, like, Alice, you have to go. I chose to be here. You didn't. You still have time. So go do what you need to do. Now, Alice got stuck in this simulation because of Jack. He wanted a better life for them, so he put all of his money into the Victory Project. He didn't want to find a new job, and Alice was working overnights, and he didn't like his life. He felt like Alice didn't like her life either, but she was actually very content with it. But he took control over it and kind of just trapped her there without her consent until she had to find out. And this kind of gives him a symbolization of him like with male fear, and she's more feminine change, where she was going after the red plane and she said, you know, someone's crashing, we need to help them, and everybody else is like, no, let's not go out there. Like dummies. You have people that really like the movie, and you have people who don't like the movie, thought it was a mess. Sorry, your opinion's wrong. You sound stupid. I think that I just like this movie so much that anytime anyone says anything else, it's off, because I like the movie. And I really do like the elements that it possesses. It's very organized. It was well thought out. And Olivia Wilde is an amazing director. I lastly just wanted to add that I think the movie adds to the viewer's desires and wants in a way, because of course we all want that perfect life, but then once life gets too perfect, we want to revert back to having those ups and downs, because that's what life is supposed to bring us. It did give me more of like an implicit, because this stuff is below the surface of what we think of when we think of a movie. This is more like, you know, uh-oh, this shit could really happen, and you kind of use your imagination when you're going into it. So yeah, that was my review on Don't Worry Darling. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What is everyone's thoughts on conspiracies of like simulations and